Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. Hope everybody's doing good, getting outside, eating their good, delicious, homegrown food, hopefully. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about a hot topic that seems to be trickling its way into our media, and that is the new age meat or grown meat, or lab-grown meat. Before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. We do things more casually over there. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon is for 18 and up. And over there, we talk about more personal stuff. We go live over there. And I have a $2 tier where all of the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies, that goes over on my Patreon under the $2 tier. If you want to join Patreon, just make sure you read the About section and what each tier offers before you join. I also have an Instagram, a Facebook, a Snapchat, and I have a Like to Know It page. And on my Like to Know It page is where I post all kinds of stuff that I use, like it's the links to like my earrings or my makeup. And you guys, I just posted the link to this basket that I got to put on my bike so I can ride my animals in it. I know, the coolest idea, right? But I want to take my cat on bike rides with me, and this is such a good basket. It's nice quality, and it's got like a clip inside where I can clip my cat's harness to it, and he can ride and look around, and you can put small dogs in it. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Anyways, all of those links are down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. So before we get into this, shout out to my vegans and my plant-based friends out there and my vegetarian friends out there. Shout out to you guys. I'll be interested to know y'all's opinions on this, as well as my fellow meat eaters. For those of y'all that don't know, I was plant-based for 4 years, and so was my whole family. Well, me and my husband were for sure. My kids, no, not very long. Now, everywhere you look right about now, like farms are being overtaken by big corporations. The amount of new regulations that are coming out constantly and being put on farmers has gotten to be too much for a lot of farmers. And not to mention the fact that the prices that farmers are having to pay to keep up with their farms has tripled at least, and sometimes even more. I mean, chicken feed, gasoline to run their machines. And I live out in the country myself, by the way. A lot of farmers have been farming their whole lives. Their fathers farmed, or their parents farmed, their grandparents farmed. I know my father-in-law grew up on a farm. His grandpa had a farm. I mean, these are things that are like instilled in a lot of farmers. They've done it their whole lives. They love it. And it is laboring work, and they're passionate about it. And it's been very hard for a lot of farmers to have to give up this generational, career that they love so much because of everything, because of these regulations. Every time you turn around, new permits, money being sucked out of them every which way. And then when a lot of them can no longer keep up with these farms, corporations or big businesses come and buy them out. Now, while this is going on with farmers and all these new regulations are constantly being put on them and things are constantly changing and the prices of everything is going up, at the same time, there is a new idea that is coming out, and that is lab-grown meat, or synthetic beef or meat, as Bill Gates has been very openly calling it. Now, before I get into any more of this, I want to let you guys know I'm not a professional. All of the information that I pull is from very public news sources. It's already out there. Y'all go do your own research and form your own opinions. Just don't show hate to anybody anywhere. Now, Bill Gates has had his hands dabbling in a lot of things in his lifetime. We're talking about computer software, digital IDs, AI, these fake meats, the things, the shots. Yeah. Modified mosquitoes. Like, that is the creepiest thing. If y'all want me to do a video on that, let me know, because modified mosquitoes, medical treatments, philanthropy, all kinds of stuff Bill Gates has been involved in. But today we're going to talk about Bill's newest public adventure, which is this lab-grown meat. No, we're not just talking about like a vegan burger or these Impossible burgers, Beyond burgers, or tofu or black bean patties. We're talking about meat that is literally grown out of cells, grown in a lab.
The age of lab-grown meat has arrived in this country. The Agriculture Department just approved 2 California companies to sell chicken grown in steel tanks using cells that come from an animal egg or a special bank of stored cells. The cell-cultivated chicken will first be available at a restaurant in San Francisco and another one in Washington, D.C., owned by famed chef Jose Andres, before hitting stores.
Now, before we get into that, let's take a very short amount of time comparing to the information that is out there and talk about Bill Gates and some of his great successes. William Henry Gates III was born on October 28th of 1955 in Seattle, Washington. He is now very popularly known as Bill Gates. Now, his father was a very, very prominent lawyer, and his mother served on the board of directors of the First Interstate Bank System and United Way of America. Now, according to Bill, when he was young, his parents wanted him to pursue a career in law. However, when Bill was 13 years old, he wrote his first software program, and this is where he says that his love for it began. 17-year-old Bill Gates was serving as a congressional page in the House of Representatives. He was a National Merit Scholar when he graduated from Lakeside School in 1973, and he scored a 1590 out of a 1600 on his SAT. Then he enrolled at Harvard in the fall of 1973. Bill dropped out of Harvard to start his own computer software company. Bill and his partners named their company Microsoft, famously known Microsoft. And this was supposed to be a combination of microcomputer and software. Now, we're not going to get into the whole like idea out there about like creating the software, Microsoft, and then creating the virus and then selling the antivirus. I don't know, for those of you guys that use Microsoft, do y'all have to keep the antiviruses on your computers? I remember when I used to have those computers, and you always had to have like the malware stuff, and you had to pay monthly or pay yearly. I have Apple products now, and we don't have those problems. But anyways, nevertheless, after a lot of drama with Microsoft, on June 15th of 2006, Bill announced that he was actually going to transition out of his role at Microsoft to dedicate more time to philanthropy. Now, philanthropy, just to throw this in here, is why Bill said that he was hanging out with old Jeffrey, these people that are out here trying to save the world. But nevertheless, once he stepped down from Microsoft, Bill gave an interview to Rolling Stone magazine. When Bill was asked what his greatest fears are when looking 50 years into the future, Bill's answer was this. He said that there will be some really bad things that are going to happen in the next 50 or 100 years, but hopefully none of them on the scale of, say, 1 million people that you didn't expect to die from a pandemic or a nuclear or bioterrorism. But Bill also went on to say that America is basically in a better place than it has ever been. And I would agree with that. However, I just feel like we're in such a better place. We just need so much more to survive nowadays. But during a conference in March of 2015, Bill said that the world was not prepared for the next pandemic. And again, this was in 2015, okay, just 4 years before you know what allegedly leaked from the you-know-what. During this whole CV-19 situation, Bill was apparently looked at by the media as like some sort of an expert on this issue, even though he's not a public official and he doesn't have any type of medical training. His foundation, however, did manage to establish CV-19 therapeutics accelerators in 2020 to speed up the development and evaluation of new and repurposed drugs to treat patients with CV-19. Now, I just want to reiterate before I talk to you guys about this next part. Allegedly, and I need to say allegedly, Bill has no medical training, okay? None. However, he said in February of 2021 that he and Anthony Fauci frequently talked and collaborated about things like, and other medical innovations to fight the situation that we were going through, which is very interesting that Fauci would be reaching out to Bill Gates. I don't know. They probably know a lot of stuff that I don't know. I mean, truthfully and honestly, I'm just a ding-dong. But, I'd just be trying to piece these things together with y'all. Now, Bill Gates has made the Forbes richest list every single year since 1986. So he knows something for sure because he keeps on that list of the richest people in the world. And in 1986, just 11 years after founding Microsoft, Bill Gates' net worth was $315 million. In 1986, $350 million, that'd be like a lot more than that now. Then the very next year, the value of Microsoft was 6 times higher. And this is when Bill became a billionaire with a net worth of $1.25 billion. And I heard him in an interview talking about becoming a self-made billionaire before he was even 21 years old. In 1995, Microsoft released Windows 95, which sold more than 1 million copies during its first 4 days on the market. That's when Bill's net worth rose to $14.8 billion. Then by 1997, he was at almost $40 billion, and by 1999, he was at $85 billion. So it just kept doubling. Whatever this man was doing behind the scenes or in front of the scenes was doubling his billions of dollars. Yet in 2000, though, this is very interesting to me. In 2000, it dropped to $63 billion. Why did it drop? Well, because Microsoft's stock dropped significantly due to the tech bubble, plus substantial donations to his charity also began to take a toll on his net worth. But see, this is when Bill gave up his CEO role and gave it to Steve Ballmer, his friend from Harvard. Now, even though he stepped away, allegedly, from what is out there, today his net worth is almost $130 billion. That's the info that's out there. But then in 2000, Bill and his wife at the time, Melinda, combined 3 family foundations and donated $5 billion in Microsoft stock to create the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This was deemed the world's largest charitable foundation, with assets reportedly valued at more than $34.6 billion. Now, this foundation was organized into 5 program areas, and I want you guys to just think about this, okay? Global Development Division, Global Health Division, United States Division, and Global Policy and Advocacy Division. Very, very interesting places to be, invested in. Now, it supports a wide range of public health projects, granting aid to fight like different transmittable diseases. Things that were spoke about was like tuberculosis, malaria, and stuff like that, as well as widespread programs like the one dedicated to eradicating polio. Now, I don't really understand this like overwhelming sense of interest in medical stuff, but nevertheless, in 2007, the LA Times actually criticized the foundation for investing its assets in companies that have actually been accused of worsening poverty, pollution, and pharmaceutical firms that don't sell to developing countries. Now, keeping all of that in mind, Bill Gates would go on in another interview and bring up the 2020 situation again. And basically, he was talking about the fact that we need to be prepared for the next one because it is coming. And we need to make sure we have money and medications and all of this stuff prepared because the next pandemic is basically going to come, is what he said in a shortened version through my own words. Now, we all know about him in the JE situation. I'm not going to bring it up anymore. But something that I did find interesting, though, is when Bill was asked, and he was asked in multiple interviews about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He was asked by one interviewer, was there like a lesson behind it? And he kind of smirked and said, well, he's dead.
Continue to meet with him over several years. And that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well, I've said I regretted having those dinners. And there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead. So, in general, you always have to be careful. I'm very proud of what we've done in philanthropy.
I just found that interesting. I don't know. Was that just like a message, or was that like a let's stop talking about it? Maybe he was just like, well, the guy's gone on to the next world. Let's stop talking about it. But I don't know. When she said, is there a lesson to be learned? And then that was his response. I was like, that really could go either way, but what do I know? So anyways, recently it has been reported that Bill has been buying up a lot of the American farmland and investing in a bunch of synthetic dairy and lab-grown meat in the name of preventing climate change. Now, some people, however, suspect that Bill is really doing all of this just the simple fact for earning more money and having more power and control, which that's probably not it. One author and an investigative journalist named Bruner says that first it was patented seeds and patented fertilizers, and now they are patenting meat alternatives. He would also go on to say that, like, in the future, banning cattle would grant effective monopolies to the alternative protein companies and benefit investors such as Bill Gates, Jeffrey Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and even BlackRock. He also said that fake meats are about controlling the food market, not saving the planet. Now, there's like this old saying that says, he who controls the food supply controls the people. Just imagine if all of the billionaires bought up all of the farmlands and started selling fake meat and dairy. We'd basically have no choice but to eat it, unless we're raising meat chickens and rabbits and stuff in our backyards and catching and hunting squirrels. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But they'd also control the price of the foods as well. But sure, that's not their intention. Now, Mr. Bruner also refers to this situation that he believes is going on as the war on farmers. And I will tell y'all, even in my small little town here in Florida, there are signs up or billboards all over the place that say, save our farmers, save the farmers. Now, something that is pretty interesting is that Italy has actually already made headlines by banning synthetic meat and said that they had concerns over its long-term impact on health. And I think that that is a great concern to have. The ban wants to protect the nation's cultural traditions, and they want to protect its agriculture sector from being overshadowed by lab-grown alternatives. Another issue that has been coming out about this synthetic meat is a potential concern for turbo cancers, or rapidly developing cancers in humans. Research on the long-term effects of consuming lab-grown meat is still ongoing. So basically, the people that are going to eat this are going to be the test subjects. They're going to study you and see what happens to you so they can write it down in their notes. Now, again, I want to tell you, I'm not talking about bean burgers here. We're talking about them actually taking cells from animals and growing things in a lab. And now we already got genetically modified food. How much chicken is in a McDonald's chicken nugget anyways? But we're talking about this being a living thing growing in a lab. Critics also worry that the use of this genetically modified organisms and the artificial growth process involved in synthetic synthetic meat may increase the risk of developing aggressive or more aggressive forms of cancer, which I would think is probably a really good chance. Now, unlike Italy's ban, the United States is apparently more open-minded about it, but they also say that they're committed to establishing a robust framework to ensure the safe introduction of lab-grown meats into the market. So in other words, it seems like they're trying to say there's not a lot to worry about because the government, along with private companies and research institutions that may be funded by those private companies, I don't know, they're going to all get together and make sure everything is good and safe. Now, when Bill was asked about why he was buying up so much of this farmland, he was actually like on this Reddit forum called Ask Me Anything, and Bill said that he owns less than 1/4000th of the farmland in the U.S. He said that he has invested in these farms to make them more productive and to create more jobs. There isn't some grand scheme involved, he said, and in fact, he said that these decisions are made by a professional investment team. And then when asked why Bill believes in synthetic meat, he says it's all in the name of combating climate change. He said that effectively combating climate change will take people being willing to commit to new ideas like switching to electric cars and synthetic meats. He also said that wealthy countries that have the resources to do so should move to 100% synthetic beef. He said that you'll get used to the taste and the difference, and he also says that they're going to make it taste even better over time. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I would rather stick to the food that our ancestors have survived on for so long. I'll tell you guys this, and this is definitely not no kind of nutritional or no medical advice. I'm not a professional. I don't have no training. My great-grandpa lived to be 98 years old, and I always think about this because like Jeremy's grandma, who's 87, my grandma, who's 82, these are people that grew up on bacon, eggs, and toast, and biscuits, and all. They ate that. My grandpa used to eat bacon and eggs and grits and toast every morning for breakfast. He drank whiskey. I mean, he lived to be 98 years old. He was cutting his own grass and living in his own house until he was 91 years old. I mean, what was the difference from back in, I believe it was 1903 or something like that when he was born to now, and how sick people are now? There's a change. Something's different. I've got my ideas, but you know, just ideas. Something's different. And I think I would rather, you know, do things the old-fashioned way and support our farmers who have been working hard for us for generations. But I feel like putting more emphasis on healthy eating for our bodies, teaching this to children even when they're in school, and even portion control. See, something that is different is our foods have been genetically modified, and big companies that sell their foods in the stores, or processed foods, let's say like pastries or chips or whatever, they literally have scientists that work in their companies, and they design the foods with enough sugar, salt, and fat to trick your brain to make you addicted. They literally put stuff in the food to make your brain addicted. To you can't eat just one, to you've eaten a whole pack of Oreos and you don't even realize it. And they do that on purpose. What if we took all of that away and we all ate whole natural foods? We'd all eat less. We'd all be healthier. We'd all need a lot less health care. We'd need a lot less of everything. But that doesn't bring in a lot more money. So I don't know. I'm a little iffy about this lab-grown meat, but then again, who am I? What do you guys think? You think it's a good idea? Are you down for trying the chicken cells that's been grown up? I mean, they make it look like a piece of chicken, but I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I love you guys. Thank y'all for watching this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.